Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So how much time we have? What is it?
It's 12 o'clock now. You can take as much as you can. We are ready to hear from you. But based on your lunchtime, where you can stop. Yeah.
No problem. So anyway, this afternoon we'll go to Vrindavan without ticket,
Wonderful.
without visa, no security check, no visa stamping.
No money.
As we said last night, first step is to get mercy of Guru and Vaishnava. So we have very beautiful song glorifying the Gurus in British Bhasa language. Some of the song sheets you have to find Sri Guru Charan Kamala Bhajaman. Flip through it. There's two different sets also.
Sri Guru.
Charan Kamala.
Yeah.
Sri Guru Charan Kamala Bhajaman. 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 Vraja Man. So Charan Kamala means the lotus feet, and Man means a heart. We should worship the lotus feet of Guru with all our heart. Krishna Kripa ki Ananda Murati Dinajan Karuna Nidan. Here he says that the Guru is the blissful form of Krishna's mercy. Krishna Kripa ki Ananda Murati. Actually, Brijbhasa is like Bachaka Bhasha. For a small child to pronounce the word very complicated, Murti. So the child will say Murati. So Brijbhasa is like Bachaka Bhasha. So Murati. Just like in Hindi, we say His Divine Grace, Krishna Kripa Murti. Here he's added one more word. The blissful form of Krishna's mercy. Just like we know that verse, Brahmanda Brahmati Koni Bhagavanji, Guru Krishna. Kripa Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. So by the mercy of Guru, one gets Krishna, and by the mercy of Krishna, one gets Guru. So Guru is the blissful form of Krishna's mercy. We can't see Krishna, so Krishna appears before us in the form of the Guru to guide us back to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna and Balaram. Guru, Krishna Kripaki Ananda Murti, Dinajan Karuna Nidan. He is the reservoir of Karuna. Karuna means compassion. The Guru very compassionately gives us instructions how to free us from this dark well of material existence, this blazing fire of birth and death. Bhakti Bhava Prem, Tino Prakasha. Anybody here named Prakash? Old name, new name? But everybody knows somebody named Prakash. Prakash means to shine. So he shines light on the path of Bhakti, Bhav, and finally Prem. Bhakti, Bhav, Prem, Tino Prakash. He shines the light on the path for us to go from Bhakti to Bhav to Prem. Sri Guru Tara Patita Bhava. Yeah, Patita Bhava. So I'm remembering one very nice pastime of Srila Prabhupada. I was thinking this morning. It was my first temple president. It was a very wonderful devotee named Harinama. And not many people know him. He was very, very sincere, but he was a temple president in Boulder when I joined, so he was my first temple president. But he drove from Boulder to LA in a car with a defective exhaust, and the carbon dioxide fumes made his brain a little funny, so nobody knows him. He's not a famous devotee, but he was very, very sincere. And he originally started a temple in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And he was one of the original crew from 26 2nd Avenue. And he told me, I've never heard this song elsewhere, but from him I heard, somebody in 26 2nd Avenue wrote this beautiful song. Chanting in your city, chanting in your town, Prabhupada has told us to spread this chanting round. Your city's made of iron, concrete, stone, and glass. What hope is there for the future with such an ugly past? Chanting in your city, chanting in your town, Prabhupada has told us to spread this chanting round. This is the age of Kali. It couldn't get much worse, but Prabhupada's the guru of the whole wide universe. Chanting in your city, chanting in your town, Prabhupada has told us to spread this chanting round. So anyway, he was was in in Santa Fe, New Mexico. That time there was temples on the East Coast, temples on the West Coast, and he was out there in the wilderness in between somewhere. Very conservative place called Santa Fe, New Mexico. And just a few devotees there, only probably Govinda Rasi knows this pastime, and Tosan Krishna Prabhu knows this pastime. Maybe Patita Pava knows this pastime. He also mentioned to me he was there in Santa Fe. So Harinam was always writing to Prabhupada, would you please come visit us in New Mexico? So then Prabhupada agreed that he was coming because he was flying from New York to Toronto to see his new temple in Toronto, then Chicago, and then they would stop in Santa Fe on the way to LA. It was right on the way. At that time, Govinda Dasi was cooking for Srila Prabhupada, and there wasn't enough money to fly her with Prabhupada to Toronto, to Chicago, and Santa Fe and LA. So they just flew her straight from New York to Santa Fe because it was on the way. Actually, the airport was Albuquerque. There's no airport in Santa Fe. Maybe now, but not those days it wasn't. Now we fly around the world like anything, but those days money was tight. So at that time, Harinam had been bitten by a type of spider we have in America called black widow. They're quite poisonous. You don't usually die unless you're a very small child or you're a very old man. But it bit him on his foot, so his whole leg was swollen. And he had fever, and he was practically delirious. So then Govinda Dasi showed up in the temple, because she was going to meet Prabhupada there in Santa Fe. This is around 1971 when Prabhupada had that heart attack in New York. So Santa Fe is about 1 mile above sea level. So Govinda Dasi went into town and she consulted with several doctors, and they said this altitude is not good for people with heart conditions. So anyway, she started telling Harinama, who was half delirious with fever, he couldn't think straight. And she was saying, if Prabhupada can't come here, he has to go straight to LA. Because this altitude is not good for people with heart conditions. So anyway, Harinama shouldn't have listened to her, but he was half delirious, so he decided to listen to her. So like I said, the airport was in Albuquerque. And that time they had a little Volkswagen Bug. Now you know how old I am, you probably don't even remember Volkswagen Bugs. But there was this little Beetle, this little Volkswagen like a... Actually, if you go to Peru and Bolivia, you'll find so many of them. Somehow they all migrated south. So many Volkswagen Beetles with it. Anyway, so they had this tiny little car. So they drove up to Albuquerque to meet Prabhupada at the airport and tell him to get the next flight to LA. So anyway, so Prabhupada came in, and Harinama's leg was swollen, so he couldn't bend it, so he couldn't pay his obeisances properly. And Prabhupada saw, and he said, what is wrong with your leg? He says, nothing, Prabhupada, but you must immediately go to LA. And so Prabhupada said, what is this? You write me so many letters that I should come, and now I come, you tell me to go away? And then Govinda Dasi blurted out, but Prabhupada, or maybe that time, anyway, but Prabhupada, the doctors say this altitude is not good for people with heart conditions. And Prabhupada said, oh, you think that I'm an old man? Now they got flustered, and they didn't know what to do. So, so what should we do? Prabhupada, what should we do? And so Prabhupada said, what do you think we should do? And now they're really flustered. So then Govinda said, but Prabhupada, you're the pure devotee. What do you think we should do? Prabhupada said, that is not important. What do you think? Prabhupada was so humble. He said, that is not important. What do you think we should do? So they realized that they'd blown it, you know. So they decided, they invited Prabhupada that he should come back to the temple and see the temple. Because Prabhupada was very excited. This was a new frontier. They had East Coast to West Coast, but nothing in between. So Prabhupada was very anxious to see this temple. So then they sat in this little tiny Volkswagen Beetle. Prabhupada was sitting right next to Harinam. Govindadasi was in the back seat. And if you know, this is a very small car. Now he has Prabhupada sitting right next to him. And he had all these questions that when Prabhupada comes, I'm going to ask him all these questions. Now Prabhupada's sitting right next to him. He did all those questions were useless questions. He couldn't think of any question to ask Prabhupada, you know. All he could say was, Swamiji, it's so nice to have your association. And Prabhupada smiled. He said, and it is so nice to have your association. Then they're driving along. He couldn't think. He just threw out every question that would come in his mind. No, I can't answer. No, I can't answer. He said, but Swamiji, it's so nice to have your association. Prabhupada smiled, and yes, it is so nice to have your association. And then I don't know if you know Albuquerque or that whole area, Santa Fe, Albuquerque, is famous for its very colorful sunsets. But Harinama said Krishna put on a special show for his pure devotee. He never saw before or after a sunset like that. So many colors. You know. Now, meanwhile, back at the temple, my god sister Mahamaya has written a book, Prabhupada is Coming, you know. In that book, it talks about how things that would take 3 months get done in 3 days. You know, all of a sudden, everything gets painted, this gets fixed, that gets, you know. She said, I don't know what Prabhupada thought, because every temple he went to smelled like new paint. But everybody at the temple knows Prabhupada's not coming. So they've not cleaned, they've not done anything, not decorated, they haven't done anything. So Prabhupada came into the temple room, and they had Lord Jagannath deities. He painted the bases of the deities. Yeah. And he asked for some fruit, so Harinama sent somebody to cut up some oranges. And then Prabhupada pulled out his famous little white bag, you know. And from the white bag, somebody had given him some basin laddus. Now this is long time ago. And in fact, I think it was before 71, because they were still calling him Swamiji. And nobody knew what a basin laddu was at that time. And Prabhupada, he said he was sitting on this big cushion just like a little cowherd boy with all his cowherd friends. And he opened up this little bag, and in the flight, it was in tinfoil, but in the flight they had melted. So they were all flat, they weren't round like we know laddus. So he was breaking off pieces and giving some to everyone. Harinam took, he thought it was peanut butter or something, some type of sweet peanut butter. And then he was passing out a little slice of orange to everyone. Like they're just sitting on this big cushion. And then he went on a tour of the temple. And, you know, but everybody knew Prabhupada's not coming, so nothing was clean. You know, he walked into the kitchen, you know, everything's a big disaster there. He walks into Brahmachari ashram, we know what Brahmachari ashrams look like. If Prabhupada's not coming. And Harinam would say, but Swamiji, we didn't know. Prabhupada he poked his head into the bathroom to see the bathroom, you know, because this is like a new empire. He'd opened up a new temple, you know. So he saw everything. Then he came back and he sat down with all the devotees in the temple room. And there was one hippie boy there, who just happened to be there that day when Prabhupada came into the temple. And so all of a sudden he just said, Swamiji, who is Krishna? And Prabhupada answered in the most matter-of-fact way, as if, you know, everybody knows. You don't know, everybody knows. Prabhupada said, oh, Krishna, he is a little cowherd boy in Vrindavan who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like you don't know, everybody knows. Krishna, he's a little cowherd boy in Vrindavan who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is very wonderful pastime I was remembering this morning. As Prabhupada was one of Krishna's friends. He's a supreme person. He's a little cowherd boy. He's a supreme personality of Godhead. So once we get mercy of Guru and Vaishnava, we want to get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we have a very beautiful song you can see in this song sheet, Sundara Lala. We'll sing in honor of Lord Chaitanya. So Sundara Lala, Sachidu Lala, Nachata, Sri Hari, Kirtan. The very beautiful little boy of Mother Sachi, he's always dancing in Sri Hari Kirtan. Because in this dark age of Kali, this is the recommended process, chanting very loudly, very enthusiastically the holy names.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And it's not that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invented something new. Just like now in Kali Yuga, it's fashion, everybody invents some new process. Way of this and that, so many things they invent. But we have to follow Shastra. Shastra comes from the word Shashan. Shashan is meant to guide us back to the lotus feet of Krishna. So this chanting is not something that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invented. This is mentioned in Shastra. Just like we know there's one verse in Brihad Naradiya Puran, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Eva Kevalam, Pranam Nasteva, 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 Nasteva. And in Srimad Bhagavatam, the emperor of all types of praman, evidence, in the 11th canto, when Maharaj Nimi is just meeting the Navi Yogendras. Anybody here is Navi Yogendra Maharaj's disciple?
Alarnath Prabhu. He came yesterday. Alarnath Prabhu.
Okay, I
He came
remember
yesterday.
somebody was there.
From
So anyway,
Gorakhpur. Remember you met him? He said he told you he's from Gorakhpur.
Yes, okay, Navi Yogendra. Anyway, so he tells, the Navi Yogendras tell Maharaj Nimi, the Krite Yadjayato Vishnu, Tretayam Yadato Makai, Vaparyam Paricharyam Kalo Tad Harikirtanat. The Krita Yug means as another name for Satyug. Krita Yadjayato Vishnu. People sat and meditated for their lifetime was 1 lakh years. We can't imagine. We can't even begin to understand. But in Satyug they lived for 1 lakh of years. 50,000 they did their duties in Varnashram system, and 50,000 years they would meditate. Now we can't even meditate for 5 minutes. Our mind is just flowing here and there and here and there. I remember Prabhuji mentioned that we opened the temple in Dallas, so we just had a little rented house, and sometimes there was some yoga institute there. They used to invite us to do kirtan. And they just happened, their building just happened to be on the flight path for Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. So they invented a new asan. We cannot find any peaceful place. We're not ready to go to the Himalayas, and even the Himalayas, Air India must be flying over there. So that's very difficult. Krita Yad. What that Yad means, that fall that was achieved by the yogis in Satyuga by meditation. Tretayam Yadato Makai. In Tretayuga they did yagya. In those yagyas, the kings would give gold and silver and charity. We read about Arjun's name is Dhananjay. Because he collected it. With one king, he gave away so much gold that they even left it behind. Now we can't imagine. Just for a little piece of gold, just like sometimes we're walking on the street, especially in India, or also in Colombia, it's very famous. And just bang! It's just a little tiny pin is holding your necklace, your gold necklace. Bing! For a little piece of gold. And they were leaving gold. So much gold was given by the king that they left behind. And Arjun went and collected all that for the yajna. So we can't imagine being able to collect so much gold and silver, and plus they were using pure cow ghee. Just like when I went to India 34 years ago, the sign in the store said Deshi ghee. So where else will we get the ghee? They don't put ghee in deshi ghee. Then after some years, I saw the sign change to Shud deshi ghee. After some years, I noticed the sign turned to Sat Pratishat, 100% Shud deshi ghee. And you know it's not. So how are you going to do yagi? We can't even get pure dalda. Where are we going to get pure ghee? And cow ghee, where are we going to get? So that's also very difficult. So Traitayug, they did by these performance of yagya. And Dvaparayam Paricharyam. In Dvaparayug, they used to do murti worship. And they would put real gold and silver and diamonds and rubies. And we saw all the invaders came, broke our temples and stole everything. And now in Kali Yuga, what to speak of the invaders, we read sometime in the paper that they caught the pujari with the gold and silver at the time. So this is also difficult. But Kalau Tad Hari Kirtanat, in this Kali Yuga, simply by doing Hari Kirtan. Kalau Tad. Jad means that fruit, not that some different fruit. He said Tad means wahi. That fruit that was got by the yogis who did meditation for thousands of years and yajnas with costing thousands of crores of rupees and doing deity worship with very costly ornaments and temples. That same vote, kalo tad, wahi fal. You'll get that same fruit simply by Hari Kirtan. So this is the king of all evidences, Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is a version of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, once we get mercy of Guru and Vaishnava, we get mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we chant the holy name, then we can go to Braj. So to take us to Braj, we have a very beautiful song. It's a very famous song in Braj. We won't sing all the verses because it's very long. And after the introduction, we'll sing all the verses together. Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe. Jai Krishna, Jai Krishna, Krishna. Now you find out where this beautiful bridge rag that we sing for Sundara Lala, where this comes from. Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe. Jai Radhe, Jai
Krishna, Jaya Krishna,
Well, just in January 14th was the 40th anniversary of Bombay Temple, and we were there. But Giriraj Maharaj couldn't come because he's an integral part of Bombay Temple history, Hindu temple history. But he came via Skype, and he told us a story that one time there was one group called Radha Madhav Sankirtan Mandal. They're all over northern India. And they do, every 2 weeks they do 12-hour kirtans. So Prabhupada invited him to do kirtan in the little temporary temple he had in Juhu. He was very, very ill, he was 77, but he was up in his rooms. He wanted to stay in his rooms even though they weren't complete. So Giriraj told us in the evening, one lady was singing this song, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe, Radhe, Jai Krishna, Jai Krishna, Krishna. And he looked over and tears were pouring down Prabhupada's cheek hearing this sweet song. And this is written by an acharya in the Nimbarka Sampradaya named Harivyasdeva Acharya. But he keeps his name in all his songs as Hari Priya. Just like you saw in the last line, Hari Priya Swamini Sri Radhe. But since it's just names of Krishna and Radha, all the Vaishnavas love to sing this song. Just names of Krishna and Radha. Nitya Kishori, she's eternally young girl. Nitya Kishori, Krishna. Rasika Rasilo, he's Rasik Raj, always relishing Ras. Rasa Bihari, always doing the Ras, enjoying the Ras Lila with Krishna in the forest. Nava Nava Rangi, Krishna is always newer and newer. We know that Krishna is ever fresh, Naveen. So Nava Nava Rangi. Navala Tri Bangi, he's always in 3/4 bending form, very beautiful form. Then there's one, Kokila Veni, that Radharani's voice is just as sweet as the kokila. Every time I call my Pujari in Brindakun, in the background I can hear the kokila sing. All winter long they're quiet, but you can tell when they're going to turn on the heat, because then you'll hear the kokila singing. They start out very low, then they go higher. Then they start over again. Then they have another song. Then they have another song. Can't do it. Where's their water? All right. And their most famous song is almost inimitable. As soon as you hear them singing, then you know it's time for, they're going to turn the heat on. So here he describes Radharani's voice, just as sweet as the kokila. Kokila Veni. And Krishna's Nayana Vishala, his eyes are beautiful big lotus petal eyes to see all the devotees. Krishna's eyes always moving to see all the devotees. Then Hansa Gamani. Now I lived for over 30 years in India, and in India I never saw Hans. Although it's in all our scriptures, Paramahams, Hams, Hansa, Bahan, filled with Hans. In fact, in Brijbasa, what we call a space case, the Brijbasa call, oh, Paramahams. So I never saw Hans in some, I've seen geese, I've seen ducks, but I never saw a swan. Where did I see swans? In Zurich, on the lake when we do Harinam. In Switzerland, where all the money that Modi wants to give back to India is hiding out. When we do Harinam, then we see the swans. So here it says Hansa Gamani. Gamani means manner of walking. So probably in America we have swans. I've seen swans here. So maybe you've seen the swans walking. So Radharani, she walks like that. So she's Hansa Gamani. So Krishna is Damani Vasi. He's always residing in the Dham. Huh? There's so many beautiful names of Radha and Krishna in this song. Now you may know that Radharani has a benediction from Durvasa Rishi. You know that story? You don't know that story, huh? Huh?
Cooking benediction, like whatever Radharani cooks.
Yeah, so you don't want to hear that story.
No, we
No,
don't.
we don't.
One time, Durvasa Rishi came to Braj. Durvasa Rishi came to Braj. And Durvasa Rishi, he's very famous for being very angry. So he came with a big jata on top of his head, his beard tied in a knot. He was carrying a little stick, you know, for doing his japa like this. And a very fierce look on his face. And all the little gopikas, they fled away. Except for Srimati Radhika. She told Baba, Beto Baba, Beto Baba. And then she made a little chula with clay. And she made little clay pots and pans. And then she made little clay puris and clay sabji and clay chutney and clay pakoras, clay samosas, clay laddus, everything made out of clay. Just like you see a little playhouse here, so sometimes the little girls, they used to have little play kitchens, right? So this was Radharani's clay kitchen. Then she made a little clay thali, she put little clay katoris, and she put everything on the plate. She put a little glass of water, a little flour, and she brought it to Durvasri. She said, Lo Baba, take Baba. Take Lali, it's all right, Lali. Lo Baba, take Lali, it's all right, Lali. Lo Baba, take Lali. So then she took one of those clay laddus, and jabardasti, by force, she pushed it right into Durvasri's mouth. He never tasted a laddu so wonderful in his whole life. And right from the heart he gave benediction. Because that benediction that comes from the heart is very, very powerful. Just like I see in all the Indian children, they're listening, huh? They're very clever. Every morning they come to their grandmother and grandfather, auntie and uncle and mother and father. What they do? They bend down and touch the feet. Do you do that every morning? You should do that. And the elders, they feel so happy. First thing in the morning they come. Whole rest of the day they're going to drive them nuts. But early in the morning they come and touch their feet and they feel so happy. So right from the heart they give benediction. Aishman Baba, you live a long life. Now, so that benediction that comes from the heart, these Indian children are very clever. They give benediction from the heart. That's very powerful. So right from his heart, Durvasa Rishi exclaimed, Adi Lali, whatever you cook will be just as sweet as nectar. Whoever tastes your cooking will never get any disease. So, we see one funny thing in Braj. Just like we all love children, right? But we love our own child more than others' child. Natural. But in Braj, everybody loves Nanda Lala more than their own child. So when they heard that Radharani's got this benediction from Durvasa Rishi, that whoever tastes your cooking will never get any disease, they insisted that Radharani has to cook for Krishna. As the parents, does your mother always worry about you getting sick? Does your mother worry about you getting sick? No? Oh, I don't believe you. The mothers, they always worry about the children getting sick. So the Brijbasis, when they heard that Radharani has his benediction from Durvasa Rishi, they insist that she cook for Krishna. Then he'll never get swine flu, he'll never die, he'll live for a long time, and we'll all be very, very happy. So every day Radharani comes to Nandagam to cook for Krishna. One day, she made Manohar laddus. And heart enchanting ladus. And that there's a special room where Mother Yasoda sits all the cowherd boys down, along with Mother Rohini, and assisted by Danishta, Mother Yasoda's servant girl. They serve out all the cowherd boys in that room. And Danishta, she's very careful to get some 2 remnants off of Krishna's plate to give to Radharani later. So this particular day, Radharani made those Manohar ladus. So she stayed behind to see how Krishna will like her ladus. And she was peeking from the window. And Shamsundar, from the corner of his eye, he saw Radharani speaking in the window. He saw on his plate so many Manohar ladus. So Krishna picked up one laddu. He popped it in his mouth and began to eat. You ever tasted neem?
Yeah.
Like that, Krishna made face. And Radharani became so frightened. Then Krishna, he pushed all his ladus from his plate over onto Sridhama's plate. Now Sridhama saw that all of Lala's ladus was coming his plate. He began to eat them, bing, 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 like that. Then Radharani knew, oh, this rascal's just teasing. So like that, there's so many wonderful pastimes. Actually, right near, we were talking about Pavan Sarovar the other day. Right near, in Pavan Sarovar, there's a well. That well used to have very sweet water. And Brishvasi told me that's where Radharani used to cook for Krishna. She would come, and all the gopikas have cut everything up. They had the milk ready to make the sweet rice and other sweets. Everything is ready, and there's 50 chulas burning bright. And Radharani sits in the middle of 50 stoves burning bright, and not a bead of perspiration comes out of her. We can't imagine, but not a bead of perspiration. She's so happy to be engaged in the service of Krishna that even in this hot place, this is the most inexplicable love of Radha and Krishna. We can't even explain it. I forgot the words. Prema Vaichitya. It is completely beyond our conception. When Radharani is in Java at the house of her mother-in-law Jatila and her sister-in-law Kutila, she's burning, even if the gopis, they put sandalwood paste and beautiful mogra flowers, very cooling. But Radharani lies on that bed and turns into ashes. That cool thing is like fire. And now she's in the middle of 50 burning ovens and she's cool. This is Prema Vaishya. Radharani's praying, we cannot understand it all. She's so happy to be engaged in service of her. So in the same way, if we become absorbed in Krishna's service, then nothing will bother us. Heat or cold, nothing will bother us. Now we're bothered, every little thing we're bothered about. So we just have to become absorbed in Krishna's service and not be bothered about all these different material. These waves of material energy will come and go and come and go. Sometimes happy, sometimes distress. This will automatically come and go. Happiness is just like we don't try for distress. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, oh, I'm going to have a car accident and break my arm. But this is happening. We didn't try for it, it happened. So if the distress is coming without our trying for it, happiness will also come. Just like I have one dear friend, now he lives in Calgary, but he was in living in Uganda. And his mother, there was 5 brothers, and their mother was my very dear God sister Shakti Mati. And 5 Punjabi brothers were there. Their father had died, mother was helping them with the business. Somehow in London, she ran into Prabhupada. and she just became enamored of Prabhupada. And she became his disciple. She came back to Uganda, and these boys were hoping she's going, because she was always helping in the business. Now she was just running around preaching about Krishna consciousness. And they're very upset. First our father is gone, now our mother's also gone. And then she invited Prabhupada to Uganda. She bought a ticket for Prabhupada to come to Uganda. And Prabhupada came there to Uganda. And they had a nursery business. They had this beautiful, 150-acre farm. We can just imagine Uganda, how beautiful, this tropical place. So Prabhupada told them that you should give this to us and we'll make a nice temple here. He said, first of all, we don't have a father. Then he's taken away our mother. Now he wants to take away our property. What is this guy? So they didn't give it to Prabhupada. But then 2 years after that, Idi Amin, he took everything away from all the Indians and kicked them out of the country. Whatever they could carry on their back, they went to the airport, they left their Mercedes-Benz in the airport, they got on the plane, he went to London and they were practically broke. They were just making some ready-made garments and selling them in the cloth market. And he was very distressed. And Saktimati was also very distressed, but Prabhupada said, don't worry, they are the 5 Pandavas. They will take to Krishna consciousness, but it will take some time. They are the 5 Pandavas. They were just making making a little bit of money in London like that. But then he realized, when I had millions and millions of dollars, I was eating 2 rotis, a little sabji, a little dal. Now that I don't have any money, I'm eating 2 rotis, a little sabji, a little dal. And now they all went to Calgary, and they have a big, big nursery there. Again, they're all millionaires. It was in their karma. But now they've all been initiated by Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Yudhishthir, Bhim, Nakula, Arjun, Nakula, and Sahadev. So happiness is already there. You don't have to try; it'll automatically come. The only thing that will automatically come is Krishna consciousness. That you have to strive for. And we may think, oh, it's hopeless. My mind is such a demon. He's always running here and there and forcing me to do so many things I don't want to do. But it's not hopeless. The Brishvasis, they have a little verse that gives us some hope. Because sometimes we go on places in Braj Prikama where there's not, what to speak of running water, there's not even hand pump. Like in Vrinduka, we have hand pump. But someplace we go, only well is there. And all around the well there's stones, and in that stones, little grooves are cut. And it's not that somebody came there with a chimti and a Torah and cut them. Hammer and chisel. The Brishpasis, they say, Kara Kara Kavyase, Jarmati Hota Sajan, Rasari Avata Tavati Shilpa Pari Nishan. That, just like Arjuna asked Krishna, how to control this mind. And Krishna, what did he say? Abhyas. Arjuna said, easier to control the wind. And nobody can control the wind. But Krishna told him, Abhyas, by practice. By practice, even Jarmati. Jarmati means dull-witted fellow. Becomes Sajan. Sajan means gentleman. Just like in British literature, we have one drama called My Fair Lady. There was one lady, she spoke English very, very poorly. The Rhine and spine rhymes minely in the pline, mate. But one fellow took her and he trained her and trained her and trained her to finally she could say, the rain in Spain rains mainly in the plain. And the Brishpasi, they give the proof that practice can do it, is that Rasari Avata Javati Shilpar Pari Nishan. Shil we know, like Govardhan Shil, Shil means stone and Nishan means mark. Now if I tell you, and Rasari means rope, if I tell you you have to cut a stone with a rope, you say it's impossible. And that rope is going in the water, he's becoming more soft. But Avata Javat, coming and going, the mark is there, you can see. The rope has cut the stone, because by practice, again and again, again and again. So we may think our mind is crazy, our heart is like stone, but Avata Javat, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
You go on practicing, even your stone-like heart will be lifted. Hare Krishna. So, signal is going. We'll put our voice to rest here, and we can do our favorite pastime, taking prasad. Because we were talking about prasadam the whole time. Hare Krishna.
इसके दीन बंधु प्रभु की
Jai.
प्रभुपाद की
Jai.
Dinesh.
Yeah.
But this one I forgot.
That's not